What's the worst gift you ever received? A rubber Hulk Hogan figurine. It looked like it was a Christmas ornament with the loop snipped off, glued to a very effeminate toy horse. An elderly friend of the family gave it to me and wouldn't stop mentioning how they are supposed to look like that. That's how it came from the store, even though I didn't voice any doubts. It's also kind of the best gift I ever got. My uncle gave me a Sparks Live Points card for my birthday. When I went to redeem it, it said card not activated. This happened 2 years in a row until my mom told him about it. Expired chocolate on Christmas from an aunt who was a chronic regifter, yet always expected expensive, top-notch gifts for her children on Christmas and their birthdays. Not only was the chocolate expired, but it was also evident that it had melted completely and resolidified. When I noticed, I went up to her with "OMG, this chocolate is so good. You have to try it." In front of the whole family, I watched her unwrap a piece of chocolate, and when she noticed how it looked, she was hesitant to eat it. When she looked at me, I just had a smile on my face. It's the best chocolate ever. And then I watched her slowly bring it to her mouth and try to eat it. She quickly walked to the kitchen immediately afterwards. I think I've only seen her once since that moment almost 9 years ago. 1 year money was tight. Real tight. I was in my mid-teens when my mum took me aside and explained that I would not be receiving a birthday present that year. My inner child screamed, but me wanting to show how much of a man I had grown to be just nodded and smiled and thanked my mum anyway. The day came, and as forewarned, there was no present. It hurt, but I was determined to be a man about it. 2 days later I was in the kitchen and I noticed a shopping bag on the bench. Being a curious person, I had a look to see what was inside. Inside that bag, the largest amount of marijuana I had ever seen in one place. I knew mum and her boyfriend smoked it. Duck you, mum. Edit. It is completely possible that she did buy the large amount to sell on, but I don't recall them selling at that point. I became aware of them selling a few years later when all of a sudden we started getting a lot of visitors, but no one ever seemed to stay that long. This being said, my mother smoked every other day and her boyfriend smoked every night, so they would have gone though a fair bit. A Ziploc bag filled with cotton balls with the words "Ghost Poos" written on the bag in Sharpie. Edit. Wow. This kind of took off. Thanks for the gold, whoever you are. Brother got a pocket knife in a small cylinder package. Old toilet paper roll, wrapped like candy. Excited, I started unwrapping mine that looked similar. Underwear. All of it underwear. And once a bathroom faucet. That is when I knew childhood was over. My friend's wife gave me a copy of A Night Without Armor, the book of poetry by Jewel. Not that I actively dislike Jewel or anything, but it was so clearly something she saw on a discount gift rack the day of my birthday and said, "Yes, this is an object." Apostrophe. Now I'm imagining a woman in an aisle shouting, "Honey, look, I found the perfect gift for your friend. It's an object." I've never met anyone who didn't like a gifted object. A pine cone from a family member. It now gets passed between me and my friends as a gag gift. There is a 13 to 15-year-old fruitcake still wrapped in its tin that's been in my family as a gag gift. It hasn't molded at all. It looks like the day it was bought. It makes me scared to eat fruitcake. A taxidermied deer hoof with a candle holder stuck in where the ankle would be. Only it's bad taxidermy, so it is constantly shedding a fine white powder on the table. Edit. Here's a pic of the thing. Link. com/gallery/c6gcn. 1 year on my birthday I got $15 cash from my parents. They said it was so I could buy pogs. We then went to a store where my dad said the pogs were a good price. I went in and bought the only kind they had, and apparently they were expensive. My parents then scolded me for spending all $15 on only this many. My dad was the one that said the price was good at this store. I ended up feeling really guilty because I assumed we were hard up for money and I wasted $15. My brother's birthday is exactly 2 months after mine. He had a party with a lot of friends over, and my dad bought him a $25 Nerf gun. This was over 20 years ago, but still hurts my feelings lol. My husband got 2 rolls of pennies from my grandma for Christmas that same year. She gave my mom, a non-smoker, a tin of tobacco. When my mom complained, she gave her a calendar that was 3 years old. My son got a hairbrush wrapped in a Pringles can. He was 2 and cried because he really wanted the chips. Haha, I hit the jackpot. I got a bottle of vodka. She always gave us weird gifts, it was her thing. Now that she's gone, I miss seeing what Christmas gifts she would be bringing. It was a good laugh. Is your grandma also my grandma? One year, I got a present wrapped in newspaper. It was a wooden box spray painted gold. However, the paint was still wet, which I know because I got gold paint all over my hands. Inside was the following: a bunch of change, mostly pennies, a handful of potpourri, a sample deodorant, a book of crossword puzzles, half of which were completed, a disposable ballpoint pen, a disposable razor, and a travel pack of tissues that was half empty. The only present I got for a Christmas was a little light up ball link. teachersource.com/wp content/upload/2012/07/energy ball jpg w equals 300. You put your finger on the 2 metal tabs, or you and someone else, while holding other hands, and the ball lights up. It wasn't awful, but it was underwhelming. After I had figured out what it was and how it worked, and trying it with a few people, Dad asks me if he can have a try, and so I say sure. I pass him the ball and he immediately throws it on the ground, hard enough to break it. I thought it was a bouncy ball. Some people. For my husband's 50th birthday, his parents gifted him the deed to his own cemetery plot. 1 for me. 2. An expensive, but poorly timed gift. When I was a wee 7 years old, my grandmother placed a long skinny box with my name on it under the Christmas tree about a week before the holiday. For the next 7 days, my small self drooled over the idea of a play baby stroller folded up in that box, just waiting to be filled with various stuffed animals. On that magical morning, I ripped the box open, only to discover it was a vacuum cleaner. Not a toy one, either. A real life, serious, small vacuum cleaner. She claimed that she thought it was a great idea because I loved cleaning when I visited her house. That's because you're basically a hoarder and your house is disgusting, Granny. My parents told me they were getting a divorce on my 16th birthday. I think mine was 28th birthday maybe. Literally a phone call from mom. Happy birthday. Your father and I are getting a divorce. Oh. Thanks. Mill gave my 1-year-old daughter her dead dog's bed as a Christmas present. She said it was for my daughter's naps. About a week into dating a girl, she bought me a feeder mouse that she named as a combination of her name and mine. Mouse lasted longer than that relationship, and that poor bastard only lived 11 days. I got a used gift card once. My mom is from Thailand and doesn't really get the whole Christmas thing. Last year she got me sore throat medicine. I didn't have a sore throat. Thanks for the gold, kind stranger. I also forgot this story. She once got me around 50 tiny vacation mouthwashes for my birthday. Someone told her kids these days drink them to get drunk, and it was my 21st. They've actually come in handy, and I use them from time to time. My aunt insists on giving me Norton antivirus software, the kind you get in a box. She has gifted this to me on 4 separate occasions. She's funny about it though. Usually a card inside saying something along the lines of "given what you do with your computer." I will visit my parents' house today to search for what now is physical representations of my fake internet points. My aunt tried to re-gift a bracelet and earrings I had bought for her a few months earlier to me. It was insulting to hear "Oh Pixie, I got these especially for you" in a saccharine voice. Funny part is that she forgot we even gave it to her, considering my brother and I were the only people in the family that remembered her birthday and even bothered to do anything about it. Bitch. Until one day, when you see your aunt wearing the exact same bracelet and earrings. Turns out she was so touched that you remembered her birthday that she went out and got a matching pair so you and her would have matching jewelry to display the special familial bond you have. My brother gave me a hand turkey that he drew minutes earlier for Christmas. This would have been okay if he was 5 or something. He was 21 years old. I framed it and gifted it back to him the next year. My brother went into my room and wrapped up a few articles of clothing from my dresser and a necklace from my closet. He did this 3 years in a row. The following year I gave him a giant bag that I put a couple of his weights in with a single Tootsie Roll. He almost cried because he thought I got him some really huge expensive thing. At least your brother gave you something he made. My brother and I give each other gag gifts for Christmas now, since neither of us have much money to spend on each other. But we love the gag gifts even more because they always have stories behind it, and they are the ones I still remember and laugh about. When I was about 12 years old, I mowed lawns to earn a bit of money for myself, and I spent many months saving up to buy a Game Boy Advance. I loved this thing, and I played it incessantly for hours every day. 2 months later, on my little brother's birthday, they bought him a Game Boy Advance game, just the game cartridge. He didn't have a Game Boy. Needless to say, I was frustrated because this meant that I was forced to share my Game Boy with him. And when I was visibly salty about it, my parents told me to stop being selfish. It's not that I didn't want to share with my brother, but it was shitty that they bought him a gift that he could not use without borrowing my prized possession. And when I expressed my annoyance, they made me feel guilty about it. My parents were exactly like this. We were made to share everything, even praise for personal accomplishments. I loved drawing, and my brother was more of an outdoorsy kid. When there was a drawing contest, I had made more than one drawing, so my parents had the brilliant idea of sending in my 2 favorite drawings. One with my name on the envelope, the other with my brother's name. I figured this would double my chances of winning, so I was excited about the idea. What the heck now? The drawing with my brother's name on it won first prize. So my whole family was there at the prize ceremony, and I watched him get all my applause and receive my prize. And afterwards he got to keep it. My parents said it didn't matter which one of us won, and stop being a baby about it. I was 8, and it did matter. It mattered a lot. This message was deleted with a script because someone doxed me after I posted something mean about Hillary Clinton. Thanks dude. So they gave you the gift of PTSD. Socks and a skirt. As I then turned to see my brother open his remote-controlled spy car. Something similar happened to my sister. I opened a present from my aunt, a sparkly red top with little diamond studs on it. For 7 to 8-year-old me it was awesome, and my sister excitedly turned to hers expecting the same in her size, and quickly unwrapped it to find a 5-pack of Tesco underwear. She was heartbroken, and so was I. I couldn't believe my aunt would treat us so differently. It made me feel so guilty for something I hadn't done, and it made my sister feel really angry and unloved and small. I hope my parents gave them hell for it. My mill gave me a full-size bed to use for my son that her grandmother had just died in, like 2 days prior. It even had bodily fluid stains from the corpse, but they cleaned it with Lysol. Edit. Wow, I never expected all these upvotes. Okay, some backstory. The bed was bought 1 month prior to her death. It was bought so she could sleep her last couple years in comfort. The mattress is super nice and was expensive. My in-laws are wealthy because they are incredibly cheap. When the old lady died so suddenly of natural causes, she was in her 90s. They just couldn't bother throwing it away. Since my son needed his first real bed, we were given the deathbed. I had it professionally cleaned before he ever slept on it, and I still use the mattress cover. It's been almost 3 years now, and we still have it. My son will never know. My grandma used to be the worst gift giver. She's gotten better. Some gems, a brick from a building that was torn down, 1 drumstick for my dad, who had never played drums, a Harry Potter sign for the release of the first movie, not a nice one, and again for my dad, who hates Harry Potter, a bunch of Twilight stuff for my husband and I after the movie came out, including a shirt with Edward's face on it for my husband. I gave my friend a fifth of Gentleman Jack Daniels for his birthday, which was about a week before mine. A week later, he gave me a half-empty bottle of Gentleman Jack Daniels, wrapped up and everything. I don't drink. Well, the worst gift I ever had was actually because it was very heart-wrenching. When my great aunt was starting to really go senile, she began writing down every date that was important to her, and she had written down my birthday. The gift she got me was a dog leash, some tennis balls and several other dog toys because she remembered my parents were getting a dog on my birthday, which she happily talked about as I opened the large box containing everything. I did my best to smile and pretend to be happy for that sweet woman, even though we had gotten Delilah last year and she had been run over and died 3 weeks before I opened that present. The Christmas after my mom died, I got an alarm clock as my present. Her husband said it was, so I might wake up in the morning now and actually contribute something. Still salty 8 years later. He's dead now though. So who is the real winner? Should put the clock in his casket and have it set to go off at the funeral. Recommended one-liner. Wake up and contribute. Methodica. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.